Good morning. Welcome to the Old School Podcast, a podcast about the American education system. It has been known to be about other things, as it will today. And with me in that endeavor, it's my very good friend, Dr. Stephen Bourgeois. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Miller. It's good to see you today. You're on this Saturday morning, just the two of us, no guests, just us trying to
Yeah.
fill the hours. That's how we roll right now.
You look agitated.
No, well, I am. I had a bit of a breakthrough on my research. I don't want to get into the intricacies of it at all because it's all preliminary, provisional, but the numbers add up. And if you do stats like I do, most of the time the numbers have a big zero attached to them. There's no effect, nothing. But when it
And you're
falls,
irritated and you're irritated by this?
no, it's science. You test.
Said you look I said you look irritated.
Well, it's because I know there's going to be about 40 or 50 or 60 hours of work writing up this publication, but it's exciting. So I'm in that kind of expectant. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great day. And then you've invited me to watch some football later on, so we have a day framed by work, which is my thing, and then football at the Millers. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. Uh,
However,
oh, well, but you said agitated. That's actually I'm excited. That's what.
no, irritated is what I said.
Oh, I thought you said agitated. Um, irritated.
But
It did happen right before we hit play here because I did receive a group text, and I'm not going to mention any specifics of that, but that sends me right through the roof.
group text.
Group text, well, I don't like any text. Anytime I need to learn how to either, I can't like block everybody I know, but can I turn that buzzing thing off?
Well, yeah, you can just turn it on silent.
Okay, well,
You could turn your phone on silent.
I'm going to put the
I just
phone.
don't know what your problem with being invited into a community of fellow human beings. What could possibly be your
Group
issue there?
text. It's like a club, and I would never join any club that would have someone like me as a member. It's been my
There's the Groucho Marx line for the show.
yeah. But no, it bothers me because you lose complete control, and you hear. I mean, the buzzing is. I guess some people like that. It gets their endorphins up, but for me, it turns me upside down. So other people are responding and responding. I don't know. Usually, there's one number in there. You don't know who the hell it is. And you're supposed to, so I've never written anything in a group text. The only thing I do is look for how do you delete that, and then you try to delete it, and then you get another text before. So you kind of deleted it, but not early enough. So you have to be very quick because it's like this chain of texting, and it's just terribly.
Cavalcade of noise and chatting and buzzing and
Well, what
silly conversation.
send it to one person? Why doesn't everyone smoke his own? That's what I think.
Well, it's either that or you individually cut and paste the same message to however many people you want to do it to.
Yeah, that's fine. But
This
I mean, there's no circumstance where a chain thing makes any sense. I mean, say somebody, God forbid, dies. Are you going to write a group text? That's not that. Take
Hey,
that.
everybody, Bob's dead.
Yeah. And then it's just going to go on and on. Um, but that could happen too, and it has happened. Um, Group texts or yeah, there's no comparable experience in the world of technology.
I am goading you a little bit because I too do not like
Okay.
group text. I don't like being at the mercy of other people's rather whimsical usage of the texting
Right.
uh, format. The problem is, okay, here's the problem is that my wife and I have a ongoing, constant, bordering on pablum,
Pablo.
just kind of this conversation about the notion of being on group text, and she loves group text.
Ooh,
She will complain about it, but she loves group text. She would not have it any other way. She lives her days hoping to be able to create a group text. And the one group text that I feel pressured to deal with is the neighborhood one
Ooh.
because she thinks I should be a part of, whatever conversation the neighborhood's having.
Oh, no, no.
And yeah, I'm on the verge of just backing out because I find now this is not meant to unjustly or unfairly or in a kind of a general sort of way characterize the fairer of the species, but it's mostly the women of the cul-de-sac that are on this group text, and I'm supposed to just deal with it. And it's just like one person says something, and then the worst part is that when it just goes to just like two people, and then they're just going back and forth, but we all are subject to the buzzing and the dinging and the whatever you have.
Yeah, it's frightful. And other people besides us, I mean, they text very quickly and respond within seconds. So it's like this dum, 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 different, the bells and whistles happening.
It's
Uh,
like being next to a ping pong machine.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
what that is.
yeah, that's hard.
Pinball.
I mean, you've read my texts. They tend to be either one or two letters total.
Monosyllabic is
Yeah.
the is how I would characterize your text.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would ask you a serious question on a text that most people would consider to be worthy of at least two sentences, an explanation, and I get no or yes or
I
something
apologize, man.
where I would send to you like three questions,
Yeah, yeah,
and
that's
then
what
I
I
will
get.
get like a single response as if it applied to all the questions, which is not actually possible.
Well, I know why you do the three questions because I may not respond at all, and you thought you might get them all in, but I do have trouble mentally with the three questions, so I typically don't answer any of them because the one
Is it
word
too much pressure?
it gets to me, yeah. But I promise to answer more often if you ask single questions. How's that?
Well, I mean, at that point, we just send like carrier pigeons or something like that. I mean, it's just it's
We
just
could
let's
talk on the
let's go
phone.
real old school.
I'm not great at answering the phone either, though. That's why we're getting together to watch football tonight, and we won't text each other between now and then. I'll just show up at your home at some point where there's food and football.
Right, food and football. There you go. Speaking of football, well, sports is going to be the topic of today.
A transition.
It's the transition of sorts. But anyway, I was listening to this English broadcast, not English as in English language, but from England. And they were talking about behavior of fans. And it seems that, at least to these guys' perception, that fans in England have changed over the years with regards to their behavior. And since both of us are great fans of sports and we have been known to attend sporting events, it led me to the notion of a couple of questions at the risk of asking three questions. One, what are the benefits of being a fan to a person, to their psychology, to their emotional health, or whatever, however else you want to characterize it? What is the negative side to it? And to what degree do you think things are changing, or to what degree do you think things are escalating in a negative sort of way? So if you would characterize it, how would you say what would you say is the positive elements of being a fan?
Wow. It actually
Particularly being
does
a
it does
fan
fit
at the
well.
place.
Yeah, it fits well with the group text. Meaning I don't necessarily want to be of one opinion with anyone. I feel like I have a more subtle opinion of the value of my own team. It's supposed to be sort of this Dionysian experience where you could become one with the group and people need that. And so you get taken away with it. And sometimes I mean there are some great moments when that happens. I tend to be a more ironic fan, and you've heard me when I boo, I'm actually booing, but there's irony in it. Uh,
He booed with irony.
yes. Um, but yeah, so
I
this
mean,
will
is
take
is
a
there
little
something
time.
to the idea? Is there something to the idea that there is a venting process, a kind of letting off steam? Is it the communal aspect of it? I mean, do you think that beyond sports, there is an advantage of being a fan either at the scene or in your living room?
No, I don't know. I guess it's good to pick your side, but I certainly wish no ill will on the opponents. On the contrary, there's a lot of things about sports that I don't like for somebody who watches them all the time. Fandom, it I guess I can understand it, but it's almost an affectation with me. I mean, there are a few times, I guess, with my college. I mean, if I'm watching the Oregon Ducks play football, I'm definitely rooting for them, but I'm also deeply upset with the play calling and the choices of the head coach throughout. So I'm a little bit more analytical and distanced. So I get in my own way. So I can't really have that natural fan experience that you see all around you. I'm just not built that way.
You've always been this way, even when at Eugene, studying, carrying your books, going from building to building, wearing your little duck sweatshirt or whatever. I mean,
Little ducks.
you were always this ironic.
Yeah, yeah. It's never really. I mean, you know, I'm I'm comfortable with individual sports, and then you're playing for yourself, but no, I never really been all in like that. I guess the closest thing would be an individual sport with boxing or UFC or something, and I think that's more natural. I find it frustrating to watch, say, a group of college kids who are mentally fragile and just developing their own competitive instincts. Um, and that's why I get so upset when people make mistakes that I'll stop watching for an hour. So I guess I'm
Very
not your
strange,
your
very strange
norm.
thing you do.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I have a few quirks uh, as a fan, but no, I'm not into the. I don't become part of the crowd that easily. I guess.
But you consider yourself a fan of the Ducks, right?
Sure. Yeah, I root for them. I worry about them.
Do you consider yourself a good fan of the
No,
Ducks?
no, anybody who leaves the watching for an hour after they make one mistake, like miss a extra point, because I think that's gonna come back to haunt them. I know it will. I watch about 80,000 games, and I just now it's tragedy watching it unfold, like Oedipus before your eyes, and we're gonna see it. So I find it frustrating. I know too much, Ross. I think that's the problem.
But here's the thing, in almost everything that you do that you care about,
Yeah,
there is a desire to be great at it.
right.
Whether it's your work, whether it's your family, whether it's, anything else, whether it's playing music, whatever it may be. But I just suggested to you and you affirmed that not only are you a fan of the Ducks, but you're a bad fan.
Well, yeah.
And there's never been any desire in you to be a good fan.
No, I was there sitting in the bleachers. They used to call it the knot hole section. Sitting up there watching them when they weren't very good in the cold and rain. And I mean, the current iteration of the Ducks is not the team I grew up with. The national prominence, the uniforms, all of that. They over the past 20 years, they're probably in the top two or three nationally as far as the best record and so forth. But they haven't gotten over the hump, and it could happen. But no, I've never really thrown my chips in. Like I would never bet on them. I don't bet on anything. But yeah, I'm a terrible fan. I freely admit it. I mean, I will miss games, just won't watch them. Um, when I was playing piano every Saturday night and there was a football game on, I would watch the Ducks on replay because I get home at like 2 in the morning and I'd fast forward through everything and that was comfortable. But watching it unfold, I know I find it very frustrating. And I don't think there are any pro teams that I'm that engaged with.
So your character, the traits of you as a bad fan seem to be more insular. It's not like you're at the game screaming about the starting quarterback's mother or
No,
something along those lines. You
no.
you 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 actually you're hurting yourself more than you're hurting anything else as a fan of the Ducks.
Well, I expect perfection and particularly from the coaches. So usually when I'm watching through the lens of criticizing these insane decisions like not kicking a field goal when the percentages are there going for it on fourth down, giving up the idea of a punt, all these things that may work with analytics, but they don't work with motivational theory. So they're taking a game that is what 60 minutes of and they're turning it into a one play game by making a gamble when you don't need to take a gamble. And so that's my whole theory of frustration right there, is that coaches make a gamble when they're actually holding all the cards. They don't need to take a huge risk, but they do. And that sends me over the edge. And so it's usually those things. And so I'm getting in my way so much that no, I don't enjoy any of it. I can't
You
enjoy.
think if the I think if the Ducks actually did win the national championship, I think you would stop watching altogether.
We're not at the jinx phase of this. We so don't worry, you haven't jinxed it yet, here, Miller.
No,
Uh,
I'm just saying, I think the only reason you are a fan is to get yourself riled up
yeah,
and to get yourself angry. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah. No, I mean, if I were watching it in person, it would probably be the same experience. You know, I've become a pessimist. And if you know, it's really really painful, but I have watched a lot of games, and so I do see things coming. And we can tell when momentum shifts. And one thing that I hate more than anything in sports, that's a little strong a word, is the comeback. I hate comebacks, particularly when the home team is coming back. They start storming back and everybody gets excited. I don't like that. Even if my team's doing it, I don't like it. Because it means
But
that
you understand that in sports, as in life, there are ebbs and flows.
I don't think there should be. There never was when I played tennis. It was
They're
you
ridiculous. Of course, I mean, there has been plenty of examples, the number of which I'm sure you could, more than anybody else, recount for us. There's been plenty of examples of people who have rallied, that
Oh
people who
yeah,
have
no, it
come from
happens.
behind.
But you play every play like it's the last. You put all your effort and then you compartmentalize it and you move on. And the idea of momentum is that there's a whole team of individuals who are not able to control this, win the play, win your matchup, and they all get kind of swept up in this. The crowd gets going, and some people think that sounds really exciting, but I don't think so. I think you establish that you're dominant, you put your foot on their neck, and you finish the job. And when people don't do that, I blame the coach for getting too careful, the proverbial prevent defense that prevents nothing but winning. That stresses me out too.
This this
You
is
knew all this,
asinine.
Ross.
This
You
this
knew
is
this about
asinine
me.
because here's why. Your complaint is that another team has controlled their destiny, and your preference is that the other team control their destiny.
Yeah,
Because you want the team to control the whole momentum, the whole course of the game, but
absolutely.
you get upset when the other team seeks to do that and actually accomplishes it by coming back from behind to win a game.
Absolutely. Yeah, the team that asserts dominance early on should be able to continue it, but we're dealing with a statistical paradigm. It's called the regression to the mean, and the mean is a 0-0 score. And so that happens over time. And imagine these two, say you're having a real matchup, Alabama and Oklahoma, solid, really upper echelon good teams. If they played for, say, 50 games or 800 hours of football, it's probably going to end up very close to 0-0, a tie, as far as if you add up the points they score. And that idea of regression to the mean happens throughout 60 minutes also. And so you can feel those forces coming together because there really isn't that big a difference. So the longer you are, the team catching up, will start to do that. The other team will let up and then get towards the mean. But I'm thinking that that's the job of the coach and the players and people like Tom Brady, the great Tom Brady, would fight against that. And he was yelling at his team when he was ahead. You watch him, on the sideline, he'd start warming up, going out there every drive. It didn't matter if he was ahead or not. And so I respect that. I respect players who fight against regression to the mean.
It's just amazing that someone like you cannot wrap your head around the philosophical nature of being a fan of a sport. So, for example, I go to sporting events all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm of course I am, and it has been established on record that I am a baseball fan. And being a baseball fan, it kind of mutes the emotion a bit because there's 162 games. There's no way in hell that you can be 100% just gaga over your team, and your team cannot 100% be, you know, balls to the walls as far as like, their effort, in any particular moment of a game because there's 162 of them. And I'm just surprised that you have not tapped onto the philosophical nature of being a fan.
Oh, it,
It then brings to mind, though, because like I said, most of your negative traits as a fan and what makes you a bad fan is mostly insular and only hurts yourself. But I'm curious about the notion of how fans behave at games. You and I have been to games together. We've been to many games apart, but it is curious because I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about the fact that fans used to boo effort and now they boo individuals and now they boo personalities and sometimes off the field stuff and things of that nature. Do you think that the average fan that goes to the game has changed that much over the course of the last 20, 30 years? Could it be that I'm just eavesdropping on a conversation that only applies to English fans and to English football fans? Or is this something that you see that's happening across the board?
wow. I haven't been to that many live sport events compared to you here, Miller. Um,
Yes,
so I don't
but you've
really.
been to your share of them.
Yeah, yeah. So I think fan behavior is not respectful. You should respect the. I mean, these are, yeah, they're wearing a helmet, but you wouldn't. I mean, actually talking to a player, cursing out making insults. I mean, they have like the stands protecting them and police and this player, that I mean, yeah, they're taking advantage of a situation. But I think that the part that bugs me, I know what you're getting at, is that the fans and the crowd and whatever you want to call it wants to be part of the show. And so by doing like the wave, that's an example. They become the show suddenly, and they're not the show. Stop doing the wave. Don't. But also yelling at other players. I mean, these are people with family with kids, and they're just trying to win the game. They're not. They're almost questioning their moral character by. No, you shouldn't boo opposing fans, and you certainly shouldn't have the gall to actually say something beyond the shouting. That no, I find it upsetting. I could see getting a little bit upset with a referee, but still, the referee's they're not out there trying to make a bad call. But you boo them. You can boo a call. That's fine. But you certainly don't boo opposing players. And worse is to boo your own players. I don't care. I mean, you have a quarterback who throws in. They're You can't tell what somebody's effort is. So you say booing effort. You'd never boo your own team and probably don't boo the other team either. Boo the refs.
They have families, you know? What are you talking about?
Well, but you boo the refs with irony, because yeah, I'm not gonna start cursing out a ref like like in Little League, like these stupid parents do. I don't think anybody has a right to do that either.
It's interesting that there is a line for fans that where on one side of the line,
Herr Miller said on one side of the line, and he's holding up his
the
hand, and
guys
say that again. You froze. On one side of the line.
on one side of the line is this idea of fans as like a communal experience. You
Mhm.
and I experienced this when we were at the Kaiserslautern game in Germany against Schalke. It was a football match.
Falco,
And
what year is it?
2010,
No, Falco
12,
has another name. It has numbers after them.
say again, Schalke 04,
No.
04,
Yeah.
is in FC Kaiserslautern.
Yeah.
But in that kind of experience, in a good way, you have your distinction as a visitor, your distinction as a tourist fades away, and you become a part of the chorus that's rooting for whomever you're rooting for. And so on one side of the line, there is this communal experience. It's a beautiful thing. The people, they come together, it cuts across ethnicity, socioeconomic, any other barrier you wish to erect. It crosses that and it basically melds everything together. Then on the other side of that line is a mob mentality where the actions of the group justifies you doing the most stupid things, the most ridiculous things. In the 1980s, the San Diego Padres and the Atlanta Braves were in a playoff match, and several fights broke out on the field. And what the fans thought is that this is my moment. This is my chance to go after the people in the field that I don't like. And so they started throwing things at the Braves, or not the Braves, at the Padres. This was in Atlanta, I believe. And the Padre players jumped into the stands and went after a couple of the fans. It was not unlike the Malice at the Palace, where it was the Pacers and the Pistons. Is that who it
Well, it
was?
was definitely the Pistons. Yeah.
I think it was the Pacers because it was Ron Artest, right? It was his.
No, he was
He
playing
was
for the Pistons at that time.
okay. So I can't remember who the other team was, but it's the same thing where Artest got something thrown at him. He was always been a rather unhinged character anyway, but he launches into the stands and he just starts. Can you imagine the average fan just sitting there with his popcorn and his beer, and he's talking all kinds of trash, and then all of a sudden, someone like Ron Artest at like 6'10", a large, a large individual comes barreling down at you, and it's an example of when mob behavior starts to take over. We see it when fans celebrate a team victory and they start turning over cars and burning them in the city or what have you.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, it has that line been crossed more often of late? I mean, we haven't necessarily seen violence, but we've definitely seen behavior that seems to be beyond the pale. And I just wonder if we're flirting with that line too much.
I think so. I think anytime you throw something onto the field, I mean, verbalizing things is one thing. You could argue that this is your free speech. It's a free speech zone, and you can curse out players, but you can't throw a bottle at them. And so it's a fine line, but they have an ability to throw out fans. And you
Sure.
you would say that certain fans are a little bit rougher, than others. In NFL particularly, they talk about Philadelphia. They're just jerk fans all around. It's probably not true. But
No, it's true. It's true.
so they are the Eagles fans are the actual worst fans of the worst.
If they're not, I'd hate to see the ones that are ahead of
I
them.
mean, would they physically mess with you if you
Oh
were,
yeah.
say,
Oh
you're,
yeah.
yeah.
Listen, I mean, I I've spent my time at Old Veteran Stadium. There's a reason why there was a prison at the bottom of that thing. There's a reason why there was a jail down there. I mean, these people booed Santa Claus. These people threw snowballs with rocks in it at Michael Irving. Now, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I'm a fan of the human race. I don't think we should be throwing snowballs with rocks in it. I mean, the last time that was done in a noteworthy sort of way, it kicked off the Boston Massacre. And so for me, it's like it's for me, it's they are horrid individuals. Now, if you saw them out and about on South Street or somewhere downtown, maybe they would be very pleasant and kind. But in that group mentality, they don't do well.
Yeah, I don't. I think as I've gotten older, well, I've never really felt comfortable in crowds. I don't like it. Here's a different type of a crowd is when you say go to a classical music concert, and there's a crowd. I've been to the Boston Symphony. That's my claim to fame. Not that long ago, and it was more like the just regular folks going there, not just people in tuxedos and really wealthy. And they're wonderful, and they were a little bit raucous in a good way. It's all positive, and they just loved it. But I mean, that's all positive. They're not going to boo somebody for playing a C sharp instead of a C natural or something. Um, but they're gracious, and it's a wonderful experience.
But don't you wonder why there's a difference there? I mean, I guess if someone wanted to be kind of blasé about it and be kind of, stereotypical about it, they could say, what's the people that go to that place as opposed to the people that go to that place? You know, is it just a question? It doesn't make any sense that fandom of sports teams should be the only place where large groups of people gather to ostensibly watch something, that they should only be misbehaving in a one particular scenario and it doesn't happen on any other scenario.
well, you've had football fans in your living room, and you know the we happen to have a relatively small group of friends, and they all know their way around sports. Very
Yeah.
subtle. Most fans don't. I mean, you complain when there's a shallow fly ball and people start chanting, acting like it's a home run and celebrating. Um, but but I mean, they don't know the ins and outs of football or what is a late hit or all these things. Uh, so they're making all of these bad assumptions about plays, and then always through the lens of their team. There's no objectivity of the fan. But for the most part, I mean, I guess the closest thing to that Dionysian experience of being part of it is like going to I've been to a Texas A&M game, and you're part of it. You do get swept into it, and there's a lot of joyful things that happen. We're talking about you know the music and the chants. I know you don't like to hear chants in stadiums, and then they do that thing where there's they lock arms and they're
Swaying back
swaying
and
back.
forth. Yeah.
If you haven't done that, there's something you're missing in the world. I mean, I was in there with the Corps cadets, swaying. It's great. It's joy personified. So there's something to it, for sure.
And yet something still is amiss in many other places. And I think the worst part about the fact that we can't seem to identify what the change is makes it very hard to do anything that might correct it or keep it from getting worse. There's a guy I listen to on a local radio station that calls it the sardine theory, that we're just, that just the combination of more and more people moving into our area, us putting ourselves in situations where we're crammed in with a whole bunch of other people, that it creates its own antagonism just by its very nature. I don't think that's true because it hasn't always been true, but something has changed to make it so that people are reacting differently when they're in a crowd of people. And we see it most often in sports.
Crushed like lemmings into tiny metal boxes. Um, I do like that crowd. I love it. In fact, when crowds are respectful after a player is injured, and for
Yeah.
the most part they handle that well, and they'll applaud, and it's a great sign when the opposing team kneels down around them and they're respectful. Those are great moments. I mean, I always watch on television as long as the cameras are there. I like to see the players shaking hands. I think that's really good, really, really positive and important. And the fans probably do that too. Strangely enough, they're kind of mean to each other, but you could imagine after a game and then you happen to stand there and shake hands. I'm sure you've done that.
Yeah. I mean, usually there's hey, good luck to your team going forward. Oh, you got a good team. I hope that everything goes well for y'all guys. And,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
Um, I mean, I
But I'm
remember.
saying that you and I are not the norm.
No, I mean, I remember when my
You're
team
not the norm.
lost.
You're not the norm to anybody.
I
You're
guess
just you're just isolated island just sitting there doing weird
I'm
things.
not that weird.
I find myself
Yeah,
what the good fans do.
yeah. I mean, I was watching the last game of the season with my team last year, playing this team in red, Ohio State, if I recall, and I was one of about one Oregon fan there wearing my attire surrounded in a sea of red on a cruise ship in the bar.
First of all, it's Scarlet.
Scarlet,
So if
whatever
you're
it is,
if
I don't like it. So, but that one went south, and by halftime, I stood up. I had a drinker. I had several drinks. Okay, and I made a speech, and they were all very respectful. I mean, I had a full room in front of me, and I explained that they were winning every part of it, and they're a great team, and we don't expect to be able to win this game. I made a farewell speech to them, and they were very nice about it. They seemed to
of course
appreciate
they
the
were nice
gesture.
about it. You're kissing up to them.
I wasn't. I was being honest. Um, but I don't see a lot of fans, making a speech like that. They would just kind of skulk away or something. But I felt somebody needed to say something.
I would suggest to you you wouldn't see a fan say something like that because a true fan would have stuck it out.
Oh no, no, I
As
still
as
have the
as the
1 hour
great
rule.
as the great John Wayne said, one man in the right makes a majority. And if you're the only one there to go down with the ship, then you be that one to go down with the ship and you take your beating as a fan, you accept it, you internalize it, you give respect to the other team, but you stick it out to the end. It's shameful that you left at halftime and made and subjected everyone to a speech
It was a
on your way
great
out the
speech.
door.
It was funny, and I came back. I checked in at the end, and there were a few people left. They were, oh yeah, you're the guy who made the speech. Um, but the 1 hour rule it helps me because I kind of clear my head and come back and then sit down and enjoy it until something else happens. But
Okay.
yeah, but overall, the fandom topic is a good one because I think that it does reflect um, a declining civility in our society.
And yet we're still left with how to fix that. And I'm not sure you can. I mean, it's certainly the individual can't.
Well, you'd
But
think
I
that
mean,
the Brits would be better fans than us, but it sounds like they're a little bit they're so nice in general, and then suddenly they can turn when they get in a group.
well, it's interesting because when I was listening to the podcast, they were saying that, people used to boo effort as if there was this glory age of English football fandom
Yeah,
and not even recognizing the hooligan phase of the 70s and 80s
yeah.
that that basically tainted soccer's reputation worldwide because of what these yahoos were doing at sporting matches, including the death of fans.
What?
But just, I mean, we're just talking about, hooligans going around beating up people, and you still see it to a lesser degree in Italian soccer. I mean, you wear the wrong colors in the wrong neighborhood, and you're likely to find yourself with more trouble than you wanted or can handle.
Wow.
And so yeah, I mean, so the idea of them talking about it as if there was a glory age of English football fandom, I'm not sure I believe that, but it is interesting the notion of even just booing. Apparently, that has changed so much so that you now have people commenting on the fact that there's some sort of breakdown in how fans behave within a soccer environment.
So you wouldn't bring your kid to say a cowboy game? I don't think.
I think most people would.
Well, I don't know. I mean, compared to I mean, baseball fans are genteel. It's fun. We've been to day games. It's just old people like us. Uh, but even anytime, it's very nice, friendly families in there. Everybody's just
Yeah.
pleasant to anybody around. But you go to football, and maybe you have some New York Giant fans who are, I mean, they're raising hell and they're rude, and everybody's rude. And I mean, it is sort of a more working class fandom in football, and the tickets are expensive, but they're putting their money, their hard-earned money to go there. But it's a different vibe of fan because of maybe the violence in the sport and just the uh, something about it. But compared to baseball, football fans are pretty rugged in general. It's even a Cowboy Stadium, which is incredibly expensive.
And I wouldn't really call the Cowboys rough, the fans.
Well, compared to the Rangers.
Well, yeah, but again, that has more to do. I think you, like you said, the differences between the sports.
Right.
If you're a big baseball fan, you know that there's no reason to get worked up to the point where you are throwing things on the field or what have you. It's 162. You got 162
Well, it's so
games of this
slow.
stuff.
They throw like 120 pitches in the whole game, maybe 130, and between that, there's a about 5 minutes rest, and then another pitch.
No,
Yeah.
you're using arguments of an earlier day. This is I'm not going to stand for you besmirching the American pastime. So.
Well, there's a lot of silence in there, except for they play that organ during the silence. If they would get rid of the organ, I like musicians, but get rid of the organist. That can be my kind of sport.
All right. Well, we probably drummed this to death, so we'll just go ahead and we've accomplished nothing in this episode because you've turned it into a mockery, a
I'm not.
sham,
You've
a
asked me
circus.
questions. You start peppering me with questions. I give you the truth here. I'm a truth teller, Ross.
Okay. Well, I am going to we are going to try out our hand at being a fan tonight, football tonight,
Yeah.
and you're expecting food.
Well, I never expect anything, but whatever it
If you're
is,
going if you're going that way,
yeah,
then we
yeah.
can.
Oh, well, that's right. Um, but it'll
All
it'll be
right. Well,
an unfair game, and I apologize for my team beating yours even before it starts.
it's all right. Like I said, I was born and bred on a philosophical nature of being a fan, so I can take a beating just like anybody else. Maybe better. So
Okay, some people like that kind of thing.
no, no one I know.
Wow.
Almighty. All right. So on that somewhat awkward ending, we shall say adieu, Herr Dr. Bourgeois.
Auf Wiedersehen, Herr Müller.